If you love extraction shooters but you want something new, then check this out. Hey people, voice talking to you, and today we're looking at Mycopunk, a customizable new co-op extraction shooter where you battle against giant mushroom monsters. If you'd like to try this game out for yourself or see my full playthrough stream, there are links to both down in the description. Admittedly, I know next to nothing about the lore of this game. We are some sort of robot mercenary working for a huge dystopian megacorporation. We live in a dirty spaceship with our handler, a humanoid cockroach named Roachly. I do not know why we are a robot. I do not know why our handler is a cockroach. I don't even know why the planet below us is infested with hyper-adaptable and highly aggressive species of gestalt fungus capable of wielding military-grade hardware. But we're here nonetheless. Joking aside, I haven't been able to find much about the story of this game, and I don't know if they plan on fleshing it out considering the type of game it is. I did manage to find a hidden email under the staircase in the hub, but it was mostly just complaining about the ship falling apart. Let's be real, you're not here for the story anyways. When we start, we can choose from one of 4 characters, each with their own style of mobility and special skills. Each character levels up individually and has their own unique upgrades and a separate skill tree that was locked for the demo. Here's a quick rundown of our choices. The first is the Wrangler, a robot cowboy with a lasso that can quickly close the gap between you and your target. The Bruiser is a tanky frontline bug that can deploy a massive shield to block bullets and enemies, or slam himself into the ground to send them flying. The Scrapper is a tricky damage dealer that can drop a tether pole and use their jetpack to avoid enemy fire while staying close to them. The Glider is a mobile support class that can soar across the battlefield and fire a barrage of rockets that damage enemies and heal allies. Now, any class can use any weapon, and each weapon has a unique property of its own. There's a shotgun with bullets that bounce and ignite enemies, a swarm launcher with seeking needles, and an energy weapon that charges a powerful laser. Each weapon also has its own upgrade grid that we can use to modify the hell out of it. This grid is where the real magic happens, and the Borderlands craziness comes into play. Upgrades can add bonuses like larger ammo capacity or an increased fire rate, while others can completely shift the way that weapon functions. You can make bouncing grenades, exploding swarm launchers, and rifles with ridiculously large magazines, or even turn your laser into a railgun. Upgrades work fine by themselves, but optimizing your loadout takes some strategy. Some mods get bonuses for being connected, while some can interfere with each other or chain together to create new effects. Getting the most out of your weapons means carefully managing your modifications. These modifications can be unlocked after finding them on a mission by spending resources. Some of these currencies are earned just by completing missions, while others can be found and looted during runs as part of small side objectives. If you want better weapons, you'd better get to work. So how do runs function? Well, think Deep Rock Galactic and you're already halfway there. You and your crewmates are welded into a drop pod and launched down to the fungus-infested planet to complete certain tasks. There are only 2 mission types available in the demo and only 1 biome to do them in. One job has us clearing off and powering up a massive railgun to destroy a rival company's ship, while the other has us following some kind of pipe and destroying fungal growths on them, with each destroyed node spawning more enemies, of course. Now, there do seem to be several other missions and biomes planned, but obviously I couldn't tell you anything about them yet. You might be wondering at this point if Mycopunk is just going to be DRG with mushrooms. Well, let me tell you that fighting those mycological monstrosities is going to require radically changing the way you fight. Fungi are, by their nature, very hard to kill. They grow back, they heal themselves, and they keep going. Well, these enemies are arguably worse, because in real life, you don't have to worry about a mushroom you kicked picking up a rocket launcher and coming back for revenge. Each enemy is actually just a central core covered in sturdy steel plates. Destroying this core is the only way to actually kill an enemy. That said, each enemy can also sprout numerous tendrils that can be used as legs or to carry any number of weapons, such as blades, lasers, rocket launchers, shield generators, and tons more. If you want to have any chance of surviving against the hordes of these monsters, you'll have to target their weapons and defenses first. Every part of an enemy is destructible, and the fastest way to get a weapon out of an enemy's tentacles is to cut that limb off. However, given enough time, that enemy or any other enemy can pick the dropped item back up again and use it. That means if you shoot off a boss's massive laser, a grunt could pick it up and blast you with it. That also means that if you don't destroy an enemy's core, they could just as easily grow their limbs back and keep coming. Combat feels as much like cleaning an aggressive growth as it does battling monsters. Destroying fallen weapons and finishing off downed monsters is the best way to keep from getting overwhelmed. The fighting is frantic, close quarters, and utterly insane. But when you and your friends work in synergy and manage to bring down a crazy boss covered in weapons, the adrenaline high is just awesome. Speaking of friends, with the help of a viewer, we were able to test out the game's co-op systems, and the connection was pretty smooth all the way through. I will say the animations do look pretty stiff from an outside perspective, and this title definitely isn't designed for single player. It's doable, but it takes probably twice as long, and the constantly spawning enemies make it extremely hard to focus on completing objectives without being overrun. Since we're talking about what needs improvement, the story and the world building are obviously pretty threadbare right now. It's a fascinating concept they have here, and I'd love to know how these fungus monsters got their hands on rocket launchers and lasers. Additionally, the Scrapper and the Wrangler class feel very underwhelming when compared to the Bruiser and the Glider. Then there's the levels. The environments are cool, and I love the somewhat cel-shaded style. Certain aspects like giant mushrooms and tall grass can change up the flow of combat a bit, but altogether it didn't really feel like somewhere worth exploring, and before long it wasn't much worth looking at either. Variety and some unique artistic touches could remedy this pretty easily though. Overall, I really just want to see more with this game. More weapons, more upgrades, and especially more environments and missions. This game could become very repetitive without those improvements. Or it could become an incredibly replayable title with nearly infinite options. It all depends on the devs, but since this is Devolver Digital we're talking about, my hopes are pretty high for this one. But I'm also just the voice in your head, so what do you think about Mycopunk? Does the meticulous combat interest you, or do you think it would become a slog? Are you interested at all in the lore, or is the gameplay what you're really worried about? What changes would you like to see in the finished game? Let me know what you think down in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, leaving a like or a comment helps me out a ton, and keeps the shrooms off me for a bit. If you want more, subscribing is the best way to support the channel and keep new content coming your way, because I put out new stuff every week. Thanks so much for listening to me today, and you'll be hearing from me again real soon.